Hello and welcome back to the Blue Sky Robotics Lab. I'm Tony DeHart, and on today's episode of Beyond the Bot, we're excited to bring you a conversation with Justin Lorenzo from L&M Signs. Justin is an innovator in manufacturing and the signage industry more generally, and we're excited to catch up with him about how he's using automation to benefit his business. Justin, thank you so much for joining us. I'm super excited to catch up with you and hear a little bit more about your story and the results that you've seen. Can you kick us off by telling us just a little bit about who you are and what your company is and what it does?
Sure. So, Justin Lorenzo. Hi, nice to meet everybody. I'm the president of L&M Architectural Signs. We're a full-service signage and environmental graphics company. I've been in the industry, working for L&M. I've pretty much grown up in the industry. Dad and granddad started this in '82. Mom and dad worked it for years. My brother and I run it now. So this is sort of the way you grew up in the Lorenzo household is in the sign industry. So it's been kind of a lifelong pursuit. What do we do? Oh boy, lots of different things. Dimensional logos and letters, environmental graphics such as wall coverings, glass films, custom projects such as millwork, metal fabrication. There's not much we don't do. We manufacture pretty much 95% in-house, and we manage everything internally.
So you really are kind of that classic, American small business, family owned, going back generations, which is really incredible.
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you make the decision, or what motivated you to look towards automation? For obviously you guys have been doing a lot of these processes for many, many years. So how did you make that decision to pursue automation in the first place?
Um, Automation writ large, we've been updating as fast as we can, right? So as soon as water jet was a viable option, we went from manual cutting on bandsaws to water jet. Uh, Routers, CNC routers, those came even sooner. Um, we always try to stay ahead of the technology curve. With robotics specifically, we've been sort of like looking for an opportunity to hop in and get our feet wet with robotics, just like additive manufacturing, just like AI. All these new techs are out there, and if you don't stay ahead of the technology curve, you become irrelevant quick. So um, the opportunity sort of presented itself to hop into robotics, and we contacted you guys. And I guess we could talk more about that, the specific use case here for the painting robot. But when the opportunity came up, we definitely jumped at it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'd love to hear, how you targeted painting as kind of one of the first. And I know you guys do do a lot of stuff on the. You're a super innovative company looking at robotics and automation in a lot of different places. But how did you end up, choosing painting as one of your first projects?
Um, we had, I can't talk about the specific project or the client, but we had a very specific large project where consistency of the paint finish was hypercritical. We consider ourselves experts in our field. We've been painting and finishing for decades. We know paint systems, paint application exceptionally well. And we knew that this application needed a different level, different tier, different standard for finishing. I could tell you a little bit about the finish. It's a matte black paint. It needed to be consistent color. It needed to be consistent sheen, and it needed to be durable. The mill thickness needed to be consistent, and it's not just part to part. This is batch to batch and over time, over years. So we tried and tried and tried with, standards and controls with human application, and just couldn't get exactly to the level of consistency we needed. So we figured robotics was our best shot at that.
So, in contrast to the way that a lot of folks look at automation as, kind of just a labor savings piece, you're looking at this as, kind of an improvement in quality and consistency. Is that fair to say?
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I know that, those are the benefits that we, talked about, I guess to kind of unfold the story, right? You came to us and said, hey, we've got, this problem. We want to figure out how to hit a consistent finish. And can you tell us, from your perspective, kind of what happened next?
Um, yeah. So look, we know robotic painting systems exist in the world. And in terms of costs, most of those systems are geared towards scale, scope, size for like automotive painting or big industrial painting or line painting systems. If we can talk numbers here, those are 250, 300,000 and up systems.
Right.
Um, we couldn't put that investment in, and also those systems tend to be a lot less flexible in the batching and the sizing and the cost to sort of start and finish a run and change. Um, we didn't find a market ready system out there that was small in footprint, um, easy to run, easy to learn, easy to start up and shut down. So we said maybe a custom solution is the way. And we found you guys, and you said, sure, we've done similar things before, and we can absolutely help you guys with this application.
Yeah, and not just a custom solution, but I guess something that's a little bit more flexible. As you guys are as a project-based shop, right? So, you might
Yes,
be doing squares all day today, but tomorrow it could be circles or triangles, just to overly simplify it, right?
correct. Yep.
And so, what are some of the results that you've seen as you've been kind of putting this system to work?
Uh, so, you know, the main goal of consistent finish far exceeded our expectations. We just spray batch after batch after batch, week after week. You know, we have a climate controlled booth that the robot operates in. So that helps, but you still have, cold days, warm days, dry days, wet days. Doesn't matter. The consistency and the application is so consistent. Um, it's perfect. It's flawless. You really can't tell the difference at all between what was sprayed today and what was sprayed a month ago.
And matte black kind of being the gold standard in terms of finishes, right? That's the least
Yeah,
forgiving kind of
it's
application that
very
we could look
unforgiving.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how is this new kind of automated painting system? How are you integrating that with your current painters, or what's that relationship been like?
So right now we're still only running it for this, using it for the one project, and it's going to probably be doing that on and off for the better part of this year. We've started to talk about bringing it into our product line. We have a present product line, which is these frames, which are either painted white or painted black. We're going to quickly look at utilizing the system for that as well, which we're pretty sure we can work with you guys to figure out those spray patterns, or give us the tools to develop them ourselves further. But currently, right now, the parts we're painting are aluminum; they're metal. We're still manually priming the old way, but then the operator, the painter, is loading the robot. He's loading multiple trays at a time. He's hitting the go button. He's walking away for a cycle time, and he's doing other things. He's priming things. He's mixing paints. He's doing math on mixes and formulas on other projects. He's organizing the room. It's sort of like it's an augment to what we're doing. It's not a replacement. It makes him more efficient overall, even though the speed of the robot is not as fast as an experienced painter is. Um, it's the overall process and system and output between the two is much better than we were doing with a painter alone.
So it's not really this kind of man versus machine idea. It's man
No,
plus machine.
yes, yeah. It's machine helps man rather than machine replaces man.
That's awesome. So, I know that you're seeing a lot of benefits in terms of consistency of the finish, and ease of use of using the system. But are there any things that you noticed that were unexpected that you didn't maybe think were going to be the case on the front end?
Totally, paint usage. We are saving on the low end 50% and on the high end 70% on our paint usage. Did not expect that. We
Wow.
actually, when we were watching the robot spray, we just assumed that we were using more paint. Um, but the robot is able to lay down such a consistent pattern that we're able to push so much less volume over such a consistent overlap, that even though that time on for the spray fan, the spray gun is more, the volume coming out is so much less. So huge paint savings, which is, I mean, these things are upwards of $200 a gallon. Some of them, I think what we're spraying out now for the black job, the mixed gallon is even with the reducers is over $120 a gallon.
Wow.
And we had estimated phase one of the project to utilize about 40 gallons of paint. So right there, we saved, 20 gallons at 100 something a gallon just for phase one of the first project. So big cost savings and material savings.
That's incredible. And so how has that impacted your kind of ROI period on this investment?
Oh, the project wouldn't have been possible without the robot. So that was the ROI right out the gate. But if you want to look at it in terms of dollars and cents strictly, total output between man and machine and savings in paint, we'll recover the cost this year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, on that entire investment, less than 1 year ROI period is, really kind of incredible.
Yes, better than we expected.
Justin, as we're looking at that ROI period, and going back to, when we were kind of putting this together and originally talking about this, you took a risk on us, right? And, choosing to work with us and move forward, with a young company, a startup company. What was that experience like? And would you do it again?
Well, hindsight 2020, definitely, right? You guys pulled it off. You had your challenges, but you definitely stuck it through. I think after talking to you guys on the phone or I should say in the Google Share, Google Meet, I could tell that you were a motivated team and that you guys were committed to getting it done. You definitely had the background. I dug into the resumes a little bit. You guys had the background on the experience, and I knew that we were technical enough that we could help fill in any gaps that you guys, you know, might not be able to fill yourselves. But that really wasn't even an issue. You guys handled the whole thing soup to nuts. So yes, 100%, I would do it again. You know, from a risk reward point of view, when you try out new technologies, you're always taking on some level of risk. And like I said, a $300,000 robot was not in the cards for us. So we looked at the cost of this system and said, yeah, there's a risk there. At the very least, we end up with a cool robotic arm and a system that we could probably utilize towards something else. We'll get our feet wet, and we'll find a use for it. So that was the low end guarantee. We'll have the hardware and the experience coming out of this, even if it doesn't achieve the finished goals that we want. But the upside potential was so great that it just made dollars and cents business sense.
Yeah, and getting the project up and running is really we like to say only half the battle. Because the worst case scenario is a robot that sits in the closet, right? And so what's been your experience with uptime and kind of the support process and keeping this machine actually working in your business?
Oh, no issues. I think a couple of weeks ago we unplugged the system to move some things around, and there was a little bit of a reboot sort of issue there with our people internally, but you guys were logged in and on the phone and talking to them pretty quickly. I think we were up same day or something like that. So no issues with downtime whatsoever. You guys have been totally supportive. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, so Justin, you're obviously an innovative guy. You're kind of at the cutting edge of your industry, and really at the cutting edge of a lot of innovative manufacturing processes. As you've kind of had this experience with the automated painting system itself, and working with us a little bit and getting your feet wet in the world of robotics and AI. How do you see that impacting your industry specifically, but also kind of small and mid-sized manufacturing more generally over the next 5 to 10 years? If you had a crystal ball and you were looking into it, what do you think you'd see?
We've always been a technology forward company. If you're not keeping up with technology, you're losing ground to your competitors. I think that's more evident now than ever. If you're not making these moves and trying these things out, you're going to become irrelevant. You know, and that's not to this classic argument we talked about earlier of man versus machine. It doesn't have to be that. Um, it really is both. You really do need both. It does require some retraining, but with the help of the right company like Blue Sky, that retraining is relatively easy, and you guys, make that transition a lot less painful than some people would think. 5 years, I could see us personally adding at least one other robotic system, maybe welding, maybe adding some more conveyor automation to the paint system, maybe some minor assembly stuff. 10 years, I mean, who knows? That's things are moving so quick these days. A decade, it could be anything, right? You could have fully integrated automated systems that are, you know, part vision learning, part robotics, part additive manufacturing. Who knows? I see a lot of things changing pretty quick. Um, to get a little bit beyond our industry, I see a convergence of different industries. When you've got automated equipment that can build things and integrated systems, you don't have to stay limited to the signage industry. And I think good builders will build lots of different things. So I see a lot of joining of industries, and there's going to be a bunch of companies sort of folding up into bigger companies that are just good at building in general.
Yeah, super interesting to kind of hear your take on it because one of the things that we're seeing is that as materials are getting more expensive, as labor is getting more expensive, creating this kind of synergy that allows people to do more and have higher output and higher quality output as kind of a key step towards a competitive advantage. Has that been your experience?
Yes, always. Yep.
And to that same point of kind of this man plus machine idea, how has the system been for your operator to actually use on a day in day out basis? Is it
No issues whatsoever. He's happy with it. Yeah, he was a little bit intimidated by it. There was jokes running around the shop of, "Oh, you're going to get replaced by a robot." They named it after him. He loves it now.
Well, super glad to hear that, Justin. So I guess when we look at this kind of question of automation more generally in your industry and kind of manufacturing more broadly, what are the stakes? What does this mean to you as a family run business going back several generations in terms of being able to stay competitive and keep the lights on? And what I guess what are the stakes of this conversation here around automation?
Yeah. Again, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier too. Is if you're not exploring this now, you're going to become irrelevant and pretty quick. You need to be thinking automation. You need to be thinking robotics. You need to be thinking AI technology in every part of what you do. Not just in the office, but in the shop too. Or it's not just writing an email with ChatGPT. You need to be thinking beyond that. You need to be thinking about additive manufacturing and 3D printing, which is already starting to sort of move into our industry. Um, yeah, if you're not doing it, you're not going to be in existence in 10, 15 years.
That's certainly a wake up call. Just as we're wrapping up here, are there any other things that you'd like to share, or anything that you think we haven't touched on here?
No, just I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit further. I think we have some other projects we want to discuss as possibilities, augments to what we're doing now in the paint, but then some other things we have going on, and let's see what's possible in the future.
Yeah. Well, Justin, we really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us. A pleasure as always to catch up with you, and looking forward to watching you grow and to continue to be successful. And luckily, I'm happy to say that that'll be a collaborative effort. So really looking forward to the future.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.